Here we go. Hey, Michelle.
Hi.
We just saw each other.
Yes.
So this is the time to discuss what we learned from the observation and what data I collected. I will share it with you. So we are talking right now about what we learned and how we can use this data for the improvement.
Okay.
So here is the data I collected. I wrote it right here. Please read about it and tell me what you think.
Okay. Some very good points that you have about them lining up and skipping the fountain that they love to stop at when we're walking down the hall. And we could definitely utilize that. Their want and their desire to drink from the fountain.
Right. They were thirsty.
We would give them cups outside usually, but I can see how this would help transition from coming in. And we had talked about them splitting up and some going in the classroom.
Oh, so you had that idea?
Right. But we never tried it.
Okay. How do you feel about the whole period of time? Was it usual? Is it like your regular day?
Because what you saw, yes, that was.
It was regular day. So how did you feel about it?
The same. It definitely is overwhelming and can be frustrating.
So you feel overwhelmed and frustrated every day. Is it especially stressful for you?
It can be. If it's already been a stressful day, that adds to it for sure.
So you probably feel very tired at the end of the week. So let's talk more specifically about different parts of this quite short period. It was just a couple of hours that I observed. So the time when you go from outside and all your children, they are 2-year-olds?
Some are very young 3s, but
okay.
Yeah, they're all 2.
And you want them to, it's a pretty long walk from playground back to the classroom.
Right.
And I understand it's not anybody's fault. It is how it is. So you teach them, obviously, notice to be quiet and walk rather than run. But some children still do not listen.
Definitely.
Do you think it could be fixed somehow?
I'm not sure. It might just be their age. It just might be very difficult for them to see that long boardwalk and not want to run it.
Right.
I've tried, and we do it often, have them march. I've taught them to raise their knees very high.
Right.
And that'll, slow them down a little bit. Sometimes we act like dinosaurs, or we'll act like airplanes. Or
you say sometimes. Did you think about doing it all the time?
I have, but sometimes it's just, please let's just get into the class.
So you feel you lose your patience and you just want it to be over?
Right, and just get in the class.
But do you think that maybe some kind of new activity, or maybe repeating the activity that they liked before would be helpful?
It probably would be. It really would. Definitely, some consistency would.
All right. And I noticed that you do a good thing that when you walk back inside, you did several stops. You stop before one gate and make them
line up again.
Right, and so you did it 3 times before going inside, and then, but you didn't stop by the water fountain, which is, I guess, everybody was already overwhelmed and kids felt tired too.
And sometimes if we try to get them to line up we'll get them to line up on one, we've tried it before, line up on one side of the fountain and have 2 drink and then get on the other side and line up over there or sit there, and just to have them actually sit and be still and wait can be difficult.
Yes, it would be a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But you told me that one of you wanted to go in the classroom.
Right.
And one of you wanted to stay at the fountain.
Mm-hmm. We've tried it several ways. We've tried it where we all go in the classroom together, and then one teacher will take out a few at a time to go get water. We've tried it where they line up, and as they get done drinking water, one of us takes them inside. But it hasn't been consistent, and we haven't tried it for.
But which way did you feel worked better?
Probably us splitting up and taking half in the classroom as they finish drinking.
So you would one of you would stay next to the fountain, and while kids are finished, they go in the classroom and wash their hands.
Right. Until we were able to split them up in proper ratios, and then 9 would stay with me, or whatever it was, would stay with her. Yeah, so usually it was half the class would be in the room with me, and the other half would be in the hall finishing up the water with
drinking. So, as I mentioned here on the data list, that while they were after hand washing or before hand washing, you wanted children just to sit still. Do you think it is productive? I think it is. I noticed that it was quite overwhelming for you to make children sit still at the same time you had to help others.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all these things?
Right. That's the issue for sure. Expecting them to sit still while their friends are washing their hands, and then those that are clean going and sitting somewhere else, and keeping them separated at the same time. We've tried the story time, but still we really need to have them all clean and on the rug to start story time, because the ones that, if I was reading to a few, the others would feel left out, and of course would want to come over, but they wouldn't be ready.
Yes, and earlier in the morning, I noticed that there was no story time. There was no really activity offered, but they just were.
Look at books.
Would you consider changing this procedure? Would you like to?
Yeah, I would like to find something that would work better. For sure.
What do you think it would be?
I'm not really certain, because we've tried so many things, and I think that it really comes down to us finding something and sticking with it consistently, and making sure that it works before we go ahead and discard it and decide that this didn't work today, so it's never going to work, kind of thing.
Right. Do you think it would be not a bad idea to split them like you told me?
No, I think that would be a good idea.
And to try, and it would take a lot of time, and maybe by the time when they're finished drinking and washing their hands, the lunch would be there already, and they wouldn't have to wait at all.
That's a good point. I really am.
Do you think the children could maybe take books with them at the table?
Right, that's a possibility. Just go straight from washing their hands to a book at a table. Yeah, and we had tried the table at one point where we just came in straight to the table, individually washed their hands, but it ended up that they were sitting at the table too long, not doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think it won't work.
Right. Sometimes we would sing and talk about things, but it still wasn't. It was just too much time in one place for them. I think the books are a very good idea.
The books at the table.
So,
and after that, there was again the transition time to after lunch to nap time. Although at the lunch time, I noticed that children, it was another stressful moment for you. That
there's a lot going on.
Right.
Things that we have to do, as well as making sure that they're safe and eating and not throwing their food away.
Yeah, some children would finish their food earlier, and I saw that this little boy, Danny, who would stand up and go throw his food away after somebody else already finished.
Right.
Maybe he
Even
wanted,
when he wasn't done, he just...
Can you tell me more about him?
He does have, I guess it's a cognitive disorder
Okay.
and physical. It's muscular dystrophy, but it affects his focus for sure.
Okay.
And his movements are a little rough and ragged.
Hey, I didn't know about that.
Yeah. Just looking at him, he seems to be a normal child. But once the focus on his part is really, really bad. He doesn't have much focus, and him being that way can be disruptive to the other children.
Right.
Because they see him, and I see him knowing that, well, I can't expect him to sit and listen as long as everyone else because I know he's got this problem. But the children don't see that. They see, well, she's letting him get up and do something different. We want to too.
So he has a disability.
Mhm. Yes.
And does he receive any mentoring? Is there a person who comes to spend one-on-one time with help you guys?
He gets some language help, but that's it, because he doesn't...
Like speech therapy?
Speech therapy, right. He doesn't, he isn't at the same level as his peers.
But this person is not staying with him in the room with you?
No, he leaves and goes to another room for 20 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Once or twice a week.
How do you think it affects your work? Would you think that if this boy received more help, extra help, mentoring help?
Yes, I think he deserves it. I think he needs it.
And you think that you would be able to calm everybody else down better?
I would hope so. I think it would be. I mean, it's something I'd have to see for sure. I don't know. I really don't know if it would be disruptive to the other children seeing him, having this extra. They might expect it too in their own ways, but I'm sure it would help him.
I noticed that during the lunchtime, obviously you were busy with a lot of stuff, helping children to clean up their skills, and some children needed help to eat their food. Do you sometimes sit with them at the table?
No, not usually.
Not usually?
Mm-hmm. No, we'll be very close to them, but this is our time to get ready for nap. Sometimes there's toys that need to be put away that didn't get put away, and put their mats out, put the sheets on the bed. I mean, there's a lot going on. Our responsibilities as well as what the children are doing during that time.
But how do you feel about interaction in general during the mealtime?
I mean, we try to interact with them, just asking them if that's good, are you going to finish that, do you want more of that, that kind of thing. I don't know, it would be nice to have extra help during that time.
Right. But would you consider just to sit with children at the table and maybe talk about what they eat and talk about what they eat at home, because some children are able to explain that. Maybe it will keep some children talking to you while others would be able to finish their food and not to stand up right away.
When I first started, I did that. I sat with them. But when I first started, I had a few weeks of observation where I wasn't really the lead teacher. I was just observing and getting to know the children. And I definitely did during that time, because that was my focus.
Was it a successful experience?
Yeah, I think.
Did it help them to?
I mean, I didn't really have much background. I didn't know that it could be a problem at that time, than sitting still. But they definitely did while I sat with them and talked.
All right, so we shouldn't forget about that too when they lay down already. But again, Danny didn't want to lay down. He would rather go and play. And